I think we're just starting. Pressure, no? I think we're supposed to be starting some sort of tribal.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. We're ready to go?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Right, with that being said...
Mine was the only one that didn't do that.
Chin chin, chaps.
Charles. To Guinness.
On the agenda today is... First of all, I'm going to throw something out there, and then we're going to move from that into your notes. But I'm going to start on a fucking stupid note that's been pissing me off for a while, and I think it'll piss you off as well.
Me?
Dating apps. So the climate is, I am going to pour some Ribena into my Guinness, and whilst I do that, you're going to tell me what your opinion is of dating apps.
Criminal.
Do you want? Excuse me, let me know if you want to fight, and if you do, we can just stop the recording and sort that out for you. So, what's your opinion on dating apps then?
Go on, James, you take it away, mate.
It's a great idea, but the people ruin it.
That's a very good take, actually. I like that. Why?
You know, you're meant to actually like talk to people, you know, to get to know them. Yeah.
Yeah.
No one fucking does that.
Yeah.
No one does it, and it's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
But we still, we still get
so
lured
many
into
people
it,
are
don't we?
unactive on it. They've got it, but they're so unactive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is going to sound like a posse of virgins just really trying their best to voice their annoyances, but it really isn't. I actually think there is. I would love to know what Hinge is like for a woman. That's the question that I would like.
I have seen a woman's Hinge, actually, and they said that within about a night of installing it, they woke up and they had like 99 likes.
That's fucking hell. See, this is what I mean, though, is you look and you go, how do you play this game? If you've got 99 other penises just fucking flailing
waiting in line, Bonnie Blue line, we're talking.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's a much longer line.
That's a much
that's an 1,000 line. No, but I mean, for a man, if you wake up one day of the week with an extra ad. I mean, if man is Tom, you wake up with an extra ad a week and you're like, I am the fucking man.
Yeah.
I am the man.
You send them a message, they never message you again. Why are you liking me then? That's literally what
Do you have any idea how many times that has happened to me?
Yeah.
Any fucking idea?
Same here.
It pisses me off because I think I'd love to know from the other perspective what you're doing. You know, because you go, there's people that I've texted, realise they can't spell throw, and then have immediately unadded. But I've had the courtesy to unadd them because I think I'm obviously not going to like talking to you, so I'm not even going to make you think that I'm going to be talking to you because it's just not worth it. And also, I don't know you enough for it to make sense for me to explain why I'm not going to talk to you. But there's other people, you just have no response whatsoever, and it's like, dating apps are a really good idea, I agree with you, but they are executed in the shittest of manners by women, I would say.
How many dating apps do you have?
Just one.
Yeah, just one. I think Hinge is the one.
Yeah.
Tinder is shit, and even if not shit, I refuse to parlay in the idea that my next relationship is going to be through Tinder. So I'm just not doing that. Hinge at least feels a bit more classy. Tinder's immediately associated to me as, we're just going for some fucking ground and pound, rear naked choke, armbar type shit here. Nice. So, I wanted to say it just to open the video because I think a lot of people will have the exact same thing where you can't get away from the dating app. Because you want to be on it, because you think, all the time I'm on the dating app, there's a bit of a tension, and our egotistical maniacs within us just get sparked into action.
And almost like we're wanting that attention.
Oh yeah, I'm not even going to be enough of a prick to say that I don't just want the attention, because I do. Mm-hmm. You know, of course, I want
gratification.
Yeah, I want that attention to promulgate itself into a relationship. I don't just want attention, but I do like the attention. Of course I do. It never fucking comes. So it's sparse attention. I'm getting Stockholm syndrome from people that I don't know.
My dog gives me more attention than anyone on Hinge.
Yeah, but in fairness, that's because it's a dog. Dogs are just much better than people. I would
That's
not. I
true,
mean,
it is.
the only problem with dogs is when they're, this is something that's happened in our village, unfortunately, is when people get dogs confused with people on other metrics. Not just. Yeah, I'll leave that as an Easter egg for anyone that's willing to.
Yeah, I've
Willing to have the thought.
I've followed those steps to finding out that Easter egg.
You follow the arc. But I mean, have you got anything in here, or the arch, should I say? Have you got anything in here that you actually want to talk about on dating apps, or have I relieved my annoyance within the first?
That's enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's yeah.
Yeah.
We'll end it there.
Yeah, that's a good amount of time spent on women for me. So with that being said, let's move into the next topic that is basically the same thing with your notes.
It's my relationship, actually,
Basically the same thing.
with my notes, actually.
Yeah.
The notes I've made. So, as we know...
James, so can I just... Barney, you see that mouse there? Can you just move that anywhere so it doesn't have that piss... That's better. That's better.
So, as we know,
That's better.
we've all heard of...
Better.
Is it better?
That's better.
That's better. It's good. That's another one.
Where did that come from?
That's another one. The guy does like a big
it's
lunge, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and points his hair.
So speaking of Neil deGrasse Tyson...
Yeah, so,
Sorry.
as we know, Neil deGrasse Tyson released a new video on his Star Talk show, which is a podcast.
Let me quickly say something. I don't know anything about this, so this is great.
Yeah.
Good, you're learning something new
Me
then.
too, I'm pleased.
We're all learning something new, because I had literally only just managed to wrap my head around this in the last 2 days.
James.
Yeah, I literally only managed to wrap my head around this in the last 2 days. So, on his show, Star Talk, he released a video which basically posed the question, is our universe inside of a black hole? And research is showing that it's more likely that we are inside a black hole. And there's a few bits of evidence which show. So first of all, we're just going to explain what a black hole is and how it's measured in size, etc. So a black hole is basically, it eats information. That is how you perceive a black hole. It eats information. So light is information because it travels, etc. It shows us what it is. So a galaxy, light coming from a galaxy is information to us.
Okay.
So what black holes do is they trap light through their extreme gravitational force. And the gravitational pull is so strong that light no longer escape.
Oh.
Now, black holes are measured in mass. So basically, the bigger the black hole is, we would say that's 20 times the mass of something else. So the mass is actually linear if you run it in maths to like the diameter of the black hole. So if one black hole was only like 1 times the size of our galaxy, for example, so the same size as the Milky Way,
Yeah.
and we found a black hole that is 2 times the size, the diameter of that black hole is 2 times the size exactly to the black hole that's the same size as our galaxy. So it measures exactly twice as wide as our galaxy. And then it's 10 times the diameter, and so on. So it holds more light and mass than the previous one. Now, our universe, so the size of our universe, which is 4.21 times by 10 to the power of minus 28, so that's 28 zeros
That's large.
in front of 4.21 or 421.
How is this worked out?
I can't answer that.
How?
I don't know. So that is the mass
Black people.
of the universe. So the question that is posed here is, given the size of our universe, which is 4.21 times by 10 to the power of minus 28 per kilograms per meters cubed, how big would the black hole be that contained the same amount of mass? Funnily enough, the diameter of our observable universe has a horizon as well. is actually exactly the same size if it were to be a black hole.
Take that one step further by telling me what I should be thinking right now.
So,
because at the moment my mind is frazzled.
I'm fried.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if we say the universe is this wide in diameter,
Yeah.
so this is 4.21 times by
Yes.
10 to the power of minus
yeah.
28. So this is the diameter of our universe.
Yep.
The horizon, which is the edge of our universe, which is how we measure the mass of black holes, etc., and our universe. If the same mass was given in black hole mathematics, for example, it would be the exact same width.
Oh.
It seems very simple, I guess.
To be honest, nothing involving astrophysics seems even remotely simple to me. The spelling isn't even simple.
Well, no, because I mean, like, if you think about it, if you think of say, I don't know, two people are the same height, you'd think, well, yeah, they would be the same height because they're both 6'2". If you think of it like that, then it does sort of make sense.
Yeah.
But if we're talking like mass-wise, something could be, so I could be like 76 kilograms. That's my mass.
It's gains.
I'm not 76 kilograms, but I'm quite small, aren't I? Yeah. Whereas,
hang on. I'd say 5'10" is pretty fucking tall. To be honest, I'd say it's
no, but say I weigh 76 kilograms, and my mass is quite small and wider, so wider in diameter.
Yeah.
But Barney's also 76 kilograms, but he's taller and a bit thinner.
Yeah.
That's his mass. He's taller but thinner. Whereas my mass, at the same weight, is smaller but wider. Whereas with black holes, it's linear, so it's always going to be the same diameter.
Well described.
Wonderfully put. Still, I think the nature of this topic means that irrespective of how eloquently you describe it as you have there, still fucks with my head to the nth degree, because it's such a complex topic. It's, you have done a wonderful job of describing the point, but it's perpetually unfathomable to me to think about the universe. It amazes me to the nth degree, and it's the symbolic talk of the stoner, and I embrace it fully.
The point that is easier to understand of why we could potentially be inside of a black hole of our universe is because black holes, as we know, have something called an event horizon. So the black holes, as we know, have something called an event horizon, which is where it's known as the point of no return. It's where the gravitational force is so strong that the black hole's got you at this point. Your light or information can no longer escape. Our universe also has a horizon where light from beyond that point can't be seen from us, or can't be seen at all, because our universe isn't old enough to have let that information in. And that point really sort of, not solidifies it for me, but it makes most sense, because the more information that black holes receive, the larger they get. And obviously, if we're inside a black hole, then our universe is receiving information from inside this black hole, so the bigger our universe is getting, isn't it? And obviously the bigger we're getting, the more information we're letting in. It's a bit of that also sort of twists your mind a little bit, but
yes, it does. I mean, it twists it in a much more favourable manner than it does when you talk about certain TikTok trends. I much prefer hearing you talk about the twisting and turning of black holes in the universe than Matteo. So
I don't know.
So
I thought he was going to let one out then.
no,
I think he's got one in the tank somewhere, just waiting to be released.
I don't.
Continue.
So there was another point as well. I think this is more of a theory.
Okay. So hang on, just to clarify, what is the expression that you have just put forth? Is this hypothesis or is it fact?
I think this is more hypothesis.
Okay.
From what I was watching on deGrasse Tyson. This is one of the points I couldn't really get a grasp of, but I can explain it.
Okay.
So it's theorized that when you enter a black hole from a universe, for example, then you go through the black hole, but apparently on the other side of a black hole, a new universe will open up in front of you. And if you were to turn around and look back the other way to where the old universe would be, apparently the entire future of the previous universe will basically unfold before your eyes as you're travelling through to this new universe that opens up.
Okay.
So then the question comes along is, are we that universe that is on the other side of the black hole that's just opened up? Because our universe is still expanding.
Yes, but we have a imposed limitation here that we don't have a great deal of comprehension of the other options here. We are only using ourselves as the placeholder because we are the only placeholder we know to be. We could be one of however many billion opportunity or options there. So it's not necessarily that it's us.
Yeah.
I mean, mate, if the case, then it has to be a universe, which means it doesn't mean it couldn't be us, of course.
It could be multiple.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I had a point cross my mind. You could there are loads of theories going back and forth of about how our universe started, because even then we're still unsure, I think, of how the universe started. Because obviously I mentioned
Depends who you ask.
True. I was reading that book by Neil deGrasse Tyson the other day, and the whole of the first chapter was literally all about the universe from the beginning.
And what did he have to say?
He went along the Big Bang route.
Okay. So he doesn't think that someone in the sky just magically created it 6,000 years ago.
Nor did he go along the theory of the loop quantum theory. Do you remember when I mentioned that?
I do remember.
Where it's the endeavour to combine quantum mechanics and general relativity to create quantum gravity, which, when put into mathematical terms, it shows the universe is way older than what we thought it was. And it actually shows that the universe compressed down when it started, compressed down so much that it created a quantum force, which ended up making something called a big bounce, which is then when the universe started to expand. Didn't mention that at all, which I thought it might have been mentioned a little bit, but maybe it went unnoticed. Maybe the book is older than I think, so it hadn't have been a thing then, a theory at that point. But yeah, the beginning of the universe is quite a mystery for now.
The beginning of our time and what happens after it are the two greatest mysteries of all.
Correct.
What do you think? I shall pivot on. I don't want to say this in too cliched of a way, but I want to pivot and talk about the other end of that. I want to talk about the what happens afterwards, and I want to see whether you have any way of bringing this back to physics or astrology, I suppose, because there is, I mean, a lot of people on the more spiritual side of things talk about the astral realm and the astral planes as their soul's resting places. So what's your take on what happens when you kick the bucket?
For me, okay.
It's a pretty sharp taste. Pretty sharp.
I think that when death occurs, I don't think there is any such thing as heaven. I'm actually more leaning in the way of reincarnation.
Right, before you go anywhere with the reincarnation thing, I'm going to jump in here and say that I think heaven is literally impossible. I don't mean it in the sense of the space itself, I mean it in the idea. And I shall pose a point to solidify. Say you've got a husband and a wife. Husband dies, wife continues on, finds another husband, that husband dies, wife continues on, dies. If all three of them are Christians, you would be led to believe, or religious toward a point of heaven, you would be led to believe, rightly so, that their constitution of heaven would be involving the other person. So the wife would want the heaven that has her husband in it, though she has two, and the husband, both of which, would want heaven would not exist without their wife, because it's heaven, it's the idyllic sense. Hear me out. I don't think it's going to be as heavenly for you as it once was if all of a sudden some guy walks in and goes, "You best get your fucking hands off my lady because this is my heaven." And to that end, I don't think heaven's possible.
What are you doing on my heavenly car park spot?
From there.
I don't think it's possible. No. Go on, Barney. What are you thinking, Barney?
I don't think heaven either. All I think is when someone's died, what happens then? As soon as your say heart just stops, the brain stops last, doesn't it?
Yes, I think it's 7 minutes after the rest of.
What happens then? That's what I want to know.
There's theories in there that you get basically like a montage of your best memories.
Yeah, you get a flash, but how could that ever be possible?
Can I Joe Rogan-fy this conversation?
If you have to.
Do you know what DMT is?
No.
Yes.
DMT is like besides ayahuasca, probably the most psychoactive substance. You trip fucking balls. And the brain releases DMT upon death.
Is that a fact?
I'm pretty sure it is a fact.
So you meet those beings.
Well, I mean,
I find that so cool.
And then they just pull down a little screen, put a projector up.
Right,
Start playing your memories.
All I'm saying is, if the last experience of my existence is a DMT trip, then
I don't mind dying.
I'm pretty happy with that. I heard a take, actually, that I'm going to put this in and then I'm going to go back to where we were. I heard a take. I don't know whether you heard me saying this to Ethan or not, but I heard a take on death that I thought was the best take I've ever heard, and I love it, and I will use it to soothe my own fears on this. There was this woman who I was following on Instagram, and she's a psychedelic nut, and she had cancer, terminal cancer, and she knew she was going to die. And she put a post out saying, among a litany of other things, this was an extensive post, that she finally got to find out the answer to the question that we all want the answer for. What happens afterwards? And I really enjoyed that, because I thought of all the ways to look at the scariest, in my opinion, part of life. That is a very good way to look at it, with that optimism of, I get to find something out that I've always wanted to know. I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm.
But James, you were talking about your theory before we went on this train, so let me bounce it back to you.
I've always been a believer in reincarnation.
Why?
Because you see, you'll either come back as like another person or an animal, etc. And I don't know if you've seen, there are like videos of people that basically have such like a strong connection with like another person or an animal, for example, like a pet, like a dog, and it's almost like it were them.
Could it not?
I said that to you, didn't I? On the weekend.
So yes, you did. Yes, you did.
That's exactly what he's.
Is that what you were trying to say?
That's literally what.
That makes more sense.
Said.
That makes more sense. Yes, you did say that. Could it not just be that the state of being of the animal or person in question is such that you particularly enjoy their company?
Well, the animal itself.
Well, yeah. I mean, it doesn't. You don't have to explain your infatuation with your dog as this must have been me in a previous life. It could just be your dog's a fucking legend and you like being with your dog.
That's how it goes, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Do you believe in reincarnation? Hang on, Barney hasn't actually put his... Where do you stand on this? Is reincarnation something you would put on the table?
No, but obviously, like... Well, I told Tom the other weekend, basically, it's when my mum's dad died. It's almost as if he reincarnated into a robin. Obviously, Robin's everywhere now. So we say that's him. He's always there and that. But but it makes complete sense. Let's see, Robin's everywhere, and coincidentally, on that certain day, Robin came and landed next to my mum, and then since then, we've just always seen Robins all year round, everywhere we go, just popping up on fences and that. So, I guess in a sense, I agree with you, but that's the only one. It's only one time it's happened. Obviously, I don't know anyone else that's died.
Could it just be coincidence, though? I think that's the question there. You know,
definitely.
I think, particularly as well, I think this is... If you look at the... I'm not going to say too much about this because I don't want to trigger, but if you look at the amount of people who are religious, who became religious as a result of being at a low point, something happening, and then them going, it must have been God. No, it could have just been a coincidence that happened at exactly the time that it's just all fallen into place at exactly the right time.
Yeah.
You know, that Robin may well have just been there, and because of the emotional significance of the occasion, you constitute it as something and make sense of it. The brain is a machine for making sense of things. It's why when you look at the sky, you make patterns and pictures out of clouds.
Yes.
Because we have to make sense of things. That's why we do that. If you didn't know.
On that, little question.
Go on.
You're both dead.
Yeah.
What animal do you want to come back as, and why?
I'm gonna say something just before. Actually, no, I'm not. No, I'm gonna say that afterwards. James, go.
I just want to keep it plain and simple. Be a dog, just a pet dog. They live the best lives.
I thought you were gonna say Saddam Hussein. Right, carrying on.
I was going to say a squirrel.
Yeah, a squirrel. That is basically the same thing.
Or a deer.
Little dog.
So, of all the things, you'd be a dog.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Not
All
an
the
eagle.
animals in the world.
No.
You'd want to come back as a dog.
Yeah,
Why not an eagle?
they live the best fucking lives.
They can live the best lives.
They can live the best lives, yeah, true.
What if
depending
you
on
don't
the
get to choose that?
Exactly.
Just fate happens and
Oh, yeah, then I'd much rather be like...
I wouldn't be
House down
some
the road.
wild animal, but
A wild animal, you'd be a raccoon.
I'm just literally.
Do you know, I looked
Yeah, I
up,
like digging out bins.
I was looking up earlier.
I eat garbage, mate.
I wanted to know whether you could legally have a firearm in England. I'm not going to shoot.
Hang on, where did
can.
this come from?
You can, but you need a gun
What's that
license.
got to
and
do
you
with
can't.
what animal you're going to come back?
I'm getting there.
That reminds
Getting
me,
there, I'm
very
getting
off
there.
topic, speaking of firearms, there was a guy a while ago, I don't know how long ago, but there was a guy seen walking down Gravesend with a fucking shotgun.
Oh yeah, and people do.
Sounds
yeah,
about right.
Yeah, they do. It's Gravesend. That's where the
gosh.
graves end. Yeah, I was looking up, can I have a firearm? And the fucking first Google search, the most searched thing on Google under the can I have a is
Dildo.
raccoon. A lot of people want to know if they can have a raccoon.
A lot of people think raccoons are quite cute, actually.
You can have a raccoon, but they said it's not. While it is not illegal to have a raccoon, we strongly
you
condone
don't.
that you do not have a raccoon. Babe, there's a raccoon.
Yeah,
So-
like a lot of people think raccoons are quite cute, as well as like some foxes as well.
I like raccoons.
I think they're pretty cool.
I've got a lot of time
I
for
think they're pretty
raccoons.
cool. They just don't give a shit
So
unless they get hit by a broom.
Mine's all about periods and pregnancies.
what?
Can I have a bath when pregnant?
Oh, mine was can I have a raccoon?
Can I have a fire in my garden?
Oh. I wonder why mine of all is so based around whether I can have a raccoon or not. Maybe they've just been looking at my squirrel
Can I have a bath
infatuation.
after a C-section? What's that? Why is that relevant to me?
Why, are you having a C-section?
I don't think so. That's my knowledge.
To be fair, I wonder why it's one. Mine were all animals.
Can I have a pint and drive? Now that's more.
Now that's. Have you seen that video?
One of mine apparently is. Can I have your number?
Cold. Google's chatting you up.
Can I have this dance lyrics? Can I have honey while pregnant?
Yeah.
Can I have shrimp while pregnant?
No.
Can I have in French?
Yeah. S'il vous plaît.
Can I have in Spanish?
S'il vous plaît.
Can I have sex while pregnant?
S'il vous plaît. What would Hitler have come back as if reincarnation is the thing?
Fucking
probably a raccoon.
Before we talk about Hitler,
Groundhog.
what are you coming back as?
Hitler.
You've dodged it.
I would come back as. Do you know, the thing is, I wouldn't choose dog because I would probably rather choose chaos. I think I would rather find something that I can just run around and do whatever the fuck I want.
Squirrel.
Yeah, I'd probably go for a raccoon. A raccoon, I mean, an eagle is a pretty good response here.
They fly so high, but...
Have you seen a fucking eagle?
But I actually learned earlier, so with eagles, when their beak becomes too curved, they'll either have to just deal with it, but they won't be able to hunt. No. But when their beak becomes too curved, it's not that deadly, so they won't be able to hunt anymore because they won't have the power.
Yeah.
So they either just fucking
retire into
walk it off and not hunt, and then just die of starvation. Or the other alternative is they smash their beak so hard until it breaks off, causing a fucking mountain of pain. Wait for a new one to grow, and then this new one is sharp, allowing them to hunt again.
They're just like a big toenail.
Is this just the difference between the betas and the sigmas in the eagle world? How did you find that out?
I just saw it on Instagram earlier. It was fucking,
As you do?
I was just telling me everything about eagles.
Do you know?
Got a lot of nature stuff at the moment. Spiders especially.
James,
have you got more on that?
Yeah, their feathers become too heavy as well. So there's like a process in this when they get too old. So what they'll do is they'll start off by smashing their beak if they decide to go through the pain, obviously. So they'll smash their beak, wait for the new one to grow, and then once the new one has grown, they'll basically pluck out all their old feathers because they'll be too heavy, wait for new feathers to grow, so then they'll be nice and light and soft and, aerodynamic. And then there was something else, but I can't remember what it was. But basically, they just sort of go to the mechanic and get a new engine put in.
What's up with her now?
It's Johnny on the spot.
That is very cool though. I'm going to throw one thing in here, and then I want you to go. And then I'm going to go. I want you to say what you were going to say about spiders, because this ties. I can give you a through road here. There is a snake that lives in Afghanistan, right?
I know where you're going with this. I've heard this as well.
You've heard it. Do you want to say it?
Yeah. No. So you started it. I'll give you the nod though.
There's a snake that lives in Afghanistan, right? And it has the most wonderful camouflage for the terrain, but it has a particularly interesting tail that is equipped specifically for the purpose of acquiring some food for it. Okay. What it has is a bulbous body on the end of its tail with legs. And what this tail...
I've seen this actually, yes.
What this tail is for is to impersonate or impress the idea of a spider, so that the birds come and assume that they're getting an easy meal, and then they get fucking murked by a cobra.
Yeah.
The thing I found more interesting than that was this. The birds that are native to the area now understand the trick and won't go for the snake because they can see the difference. Now, that is already impressive enough, what the snake's got going on there, but the fact that Mother Nature has the capacity to understand the difference on the spot like that, I mean, that can't have been many generations to get to that stage.
Oh no.
That's so impressive. You think if you were a bird looking, you're up in the sky looking around, how difficult it would be to be able to even see a spider, yet alone go, that's a shit one, I'm not having that.
Yeah.
It's so impressive.
It's crazy how that's just made.
I love to think about the fine tuning and the process of Mother Nature in reference to its capacity when it comes to hunting and surviving. I think it's fucking incredible. It really, really interests me.
Yeah. Speaking of spiders, not too long ago I used to follow a guy on TikTok. His name was just Venom, basically. American, nature lover, basically. And he used to hold loads and loads of snakes and loads of spiders. He's one of these guys that thinks spiders and tarantulas are
I
cool.
hate spiders.
Those certified psychopaths.
Yes. But he used to own a spider species that was known as the six-eyed sand spider, which was in competition with the Sydney funnel web as the most poisonous and the most deadly. Now, the thing about the six-eyed sand spider is it's not actually... We haven't known about it for that long. You right there, mate?
Sorry, there's loads of ants.
Ants?
Loads of ants.
You having a fucking laugh?
I've just clocked onto them. I just kept seeing something walking past the lights.
Fuck, there's a colony
There is
down.
so many ants down
Don't
there.
worry, I'll kill them.
Anyway,
Sorry.
I'm glad you told me.
Clocked.
moving on, as this guy's staring at the ground.
There's so many of them.
So the six-eyed sand spider is in competition with the Sydney funnel web as the most venomous spider on planet Earth. Now, we can't say for sure. So at the moment, it's still the Sydney funnel web because it can kill you within 15 minutes or something with its venom.
I found a false black widow in the garden the other day.
Fuck,
That was scary.
Fucking thing there, mate.
Do we have false black widows here? We don't even have black widows
What's the
here.
point of false black widow?
Yeah, but you'd think you'd only get false black
It was
widows in a
black
place
with
where
a
you
red
get black
bit on the
widows.
bum.
Batty.
What else would that be?
Was the red on the top or the bottom?
I don't know. I didn't fucking analyse it. I only get away from that.
Fair.
I know you get false black widows. I'm sure you do.
I don't know about here, but
James, bring it back to the spider point.
Anyway, yeah.
And let's round it out.
So we haven't done much extensive research on the six-eyed sand spider. All we know is its venom is fucking potent. This thing can fucking kill you, definitely. Can't exactly remember what the venom can do, but it's a very specific type of not neurotoxin, but toxin, which I think it basically just shuts down everything in your body.
Yes.
Pretty much. But I just thought it was kind of cool because this spider, obviously the name is six-eyed sand spider, so it's got 6 eyes. It lives in the desert. But one cool thing that this spider does, it's quite similar to what trapdoor spiders do. But what it does is it will find a little comfy spot, and it will basically use the 2 front legs to cover itself in sand.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah.
And then it will just sort of nestle its nestle its way in. So then you can barely just see the legs sticking out. And then when something applies pressure to it or steps on it or whatever, it will just jump out, fucking attack, and kill it within fucking seconds. It's
To be fair, I might be interested in being a spider.
I really want to remember
Scared.
what
I'd be scared of myself.
I
Exactly.
really want to remember.
But talking
what
about
toxin
animal
is.
facts,
Go on.
did you know that hippopotamus milk is pink?
Do you know what? You're going to be surprised here, but I didn't know that. Is that where strawberry milk yazoo comes from? Hippos.
I'd like to think
Hippos.
Is that optimum nutrition?
but I know that's a fact.
How much protein's in that?
Optimum nutrition.
Shall we see if we can buy some?
You know that the protein shakes you get at work. Are those optimum nutrition?
Yes.
Yeah, because I've just
Really
got that
fucking good.
protein shake powder, the strawberry one, and it tastes like that. It's fucking brilliant. Really quite beautiful.
I'm waiting for my mate to bring out his protein coffee. I cannot wait to try it.
We sell a protein coffee actually.
He's
but-
bringing it out.
It's his own business. Protein
like to see
coffee
that.
and tea, I think.
I'd like to see that.
I
That'd
want
be
to try the
interesting.
protein
Yeah, I'm
coffee.
waiting for him. I asked for samples. Need to wait for him to get back to me.
Good.
I'd like to get on that.
Send me a link to him. I'd
Yeah.
like to talk to him.
Yeah, he's on Instagram.
So, found out what the toxin for the six-eyed sand spider is.
Yeah.
So the six-eyed sand spider possesses a dermonecrotic venom that contains sphingomyelin.
Sphingomyelines.
D, which is an enzyme that causes tissue damage and cell death. This enzyme is similar to the one found in the recluse spider. So the recluse spider, it looks like your normal like house spider. You know the house spiders you get where they're like brown, a little bit like sort of chunky.
Yeah.
They'll just sort of sit on your wall.
All spiders can just die.
Yeah. Yes.
Bird-eating spiders, that's...
Bird-eating spider, yeah, tarantula. Yeah.
Why would you want tarantula as a pet?
The second, it's biggest tarantula, but technically third biggest spider in the world.
Bird eating.
Yeah, it eats birds
eating.
and
Not even
rats.
just little birds.
Eats birds and rats.
Fuck what sort of bird it's eating. I don't want it to be eating birds.
So what this
squirrely.
So
why are you eating birds?
Yeah, what are you doing?
What this venom does?
Sorry.
So because it's an enzyme, it breaks things down because we have like our enzymes in our mouth. So what it does, it can lead to necrosis, which is the rotting of flesh and potentially multi-system organ failure.
Hell, there's loads of them.
I said there was loads.
Yeah,
exterminate the fuck out of them.
You'll get... Pause.
Sorry,
pause
James.
Pause a second. I need to examine. Yeah. Mental health.
Don't worry.
Mental health.
Don't worry, there will be a mass extermination occurring in here. I will. Don't you worry.
Done out here.
James, round the point out.
Steps on the wrong
Round the point out.
Long story short,
we're going to wrap this up because I'm fucking boiling.
Yeah, it's fucking up.
My sweat plans are definitely working.
To finish off, another spider that will always fascinate me and will forever fascinate me is the huntsman spider.
Go on.
Largest spider in the world. Its leg span is 12 inches across, the size of a large dinner plate.
Fuck that. That's
worst.
That's probably about 12 inches.
Worst part is
I wouldn't know what 12 inches
they're
is.
they're very flat, right? They're a very flat spider, so they're very quick, they're very agile, and they move like crabs. So you know how quick crabs are when they move to the side.
Yeah. Crabs are cool. I like crabs.
I don't like crabs.
Yeah,
Spiders
crabs are alright.
Fuck off.
Yeah, so it can move very quickly. Worst part is with these spiders, they can jump pretty fucking far as well.
Yeah, they're fucking terrifying. They are built for fear. Those fucking things.
Good thing about them is though, you'll never see them just like sat in the corner of your room because they don't build webs. They can build webs, but they don't use it for homes.
So where am I going to be seeing this thing?
In Australia.
Then good thing I'm never going to Australia.
I don't fucking want to see this shitting thing anywhere. I don't care if it's
fucking huge.
I'd rather it was in a web.
You would see it literally just flat on the wall.
Have you seen that spider
Fuck
season
that.
where there's just webs everywhere?
Yeah.
Is that in Australia?
Yeah, you can
Are
sometimes
you allowed
find...
to-
Oh, not here actually, no.
Not
That's
here,
something
no
else.
way.
Are you allowed to possess a shotgun in Australia?
Just to shoot spiders.
No idea, lad.
Well, I'm going to go and find that out after. I'm going to go and find that out.
Tune in next
after the
time when
recording.
we find out if you can hold a
Tune
shotgun.
in next time when it's not so fucking warm. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. I'm fucking boiling.
Bitches.
Oh, yeah, good work.
Oh,
Open the
you
door.
bastard! I've got
Open the door.
You
Open
bloody-
Barney, please open the fucking door.
Get your bastard! Go, you bastard! What's your